Hello and welcome back to another FPL team selection video. This week we're looking at my team and plans for game week 12 and beyond. We done okay last week. It was basically a grey arrow. I don't know if you were watching the team selection from last week, but I was sitting at 78k last week and I've dropped about 1,200 places or something like that. So not really a bad week, but not a great week either. It was another pretty low scoring week all round for the majority of people. And you know, you're looking at a 38 point average overall. A game week rank for myself of around 5 million, which isn't great, but again, it's not terrible either. 41 points last week, and again, it was pretty average. I think most weeks where Haaland doesn't do well, the majority of people don't really pull up a high score. But again, the defence was a bit meh. Another good, a good return from Munoz with the 6-pointer in there, who has easily been one of the best transfers that I made. I can't even remember when I brought him in. It may have been game week 4, I think, on the wild card. The midfield was disappointing with Saka picking up a 12-pointer. Obviously, we transferred in Enzo for a 3-pointer last week, and lo and behold, the player I brought out, Elliot Anderson, went and scored, which is just absolutely typical. Obviously, didn't really want to sell him ahead of Leeds at home. But at the end of the day, I was transferring him in for a higher ceiling player in Enzo Fernandez, who has Wolves at home, and then this week now has Burnley away. So it's really annoying. It's just absolute classic FPL. I did put a tweet up of the players that I have sold so far this season, as you can see on the screen. And I don't understand how I can get the timing so wrong on absolutely everyone. I'm just thankful that my rank is doing quite well at the minute, despite taking out 4 or 5 players and then them returning massively over the last few weeks. So yeah, I would be fuming right now if I was in the millions of ranks, but we're doing quite well, thankfully, and it's just a little bit unfortunate that the transfers that I have made have then led to big hauls, more specifically in Mbuemo, who has been absolutely outstanding, and Saka obviously did well this week, but overall hasn't been amazing, and it's costing me a lot more money as well. So not a great week, not a bad week, just kind of a nothing week this week. But we're up to 102 million in squad value with 0.5 in the bank and a free transfer to use, which I don't think is going to be used because my team is looking pretty decent. This is how I'm currently setting up this week, with a 5 at the back for the first time this season, and I would imagine it's not going to be the last. I think for the remainder, at least of the year, I will try and keep a 5 at the back going, and I think I've probably got the best 5 defenders that are available, and we have split that with Nick Pope in goals as well. Now, he did pick up a concussion at the weekend, or in game week 11, but I think he should be back. A couple of problems, or a couple of shouts for him to get dropped for Ramsdale for Newcastle, so that is something I'm going to have to keep an eye on, because I don't want to have to rely on Dubravka, and I could potentially be looking at a goalkeeper transfer at some point down the line. Whether Pope gets dropped or not, we'll have to wait and see, but for right now I'm happy to keep him at 5.2 million now, and Newcastle obviously very poor away from home, but at home are performing really well. In defence, we've got Van Dijk, Gabriel, Munoz, Timber and Senesi. Again, 5 players I think I could probably keep season long, and that is going to be the plan. I don't really want to make any transfers at all here. Bournemouth are coming into a really nice run. Liverpool are coming into a really nice run. We can pull up the defensive fixtures on screen as well. That Liverpool run is looking really nice. Bournemouth are looking absolutely fantastic as well. And overall, I think things are just looking good for the 5 at the back this week. So very promising stuff. And then we're going into our midfield and our attack. Again, a really solid midfield with Saka in there. I think out of my entire team right now, Saka's probably the one that I would be looking potentially to move on. Again, we did just see Liverpool's fixtures and the likes of Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, Dominic Szoboszlai. All three players that I can't ignore with those fixtures, and their underlying stats are doing absolutely brilliantly as well. You can see with the stats with midfielders, Salah and Gakpo are right up there, number 1 and 2 for shots, and they're right up there for expected goal involvement as well. So definitely players that are on the short list. Of course, Salah does have AFCON coming up, so I don't really want to make 2-3 transfers to bring Mohamed Salah in when I'm going to be getting rid of him in maybe 5 or 6 game weeks time. So he's probably one that I'll maybe just look at on a free hit in the next few weeks, and then we'll go from there. With Semenyo, obviously pretty much going to be a season hold, I reckon. He's cheap enough, potentially taking penalties now for Bournemouth. Obviously missed one at the weekend, which led to his 0-pointer. That was with Kluivert off the pitch for 2 minutes though, so we still don't have official confirmation who the penalty taker will be. I imagine it will still be Kluivert because he is really good at them, and of course Semenyo missed at the weekend, so maybe it's just a whenever Kluivert's off the pitch kind of thing. Then we've got Enzo right now as well, who is kind of experiencing a bit of an injury, so I will wait and see what happens with him. Hopefully against Burnley he'll be good to go, but I've always got Ndiaye on the bench there this week, who I'm kind of reluctant to bench because every time I've benched him he has done quite well, but he's playing against Man United away, which isn't the best fixture in the world, but if I have to play him I have to play him, and it's a really nice option to have on the bench if anyone does get dropped or obviously doesn't play any minutes. Someone like Enzo Fernandez is a prime example of that. Then we've got Haaland and we've got Mateta up front as well. Haaland has got the armband for right now, but I'm not the biggest fan. I think Newcastle have kept 4 clean sheets in their last 5 home games. I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet against Newcastle, but it doesn't really fill me with confidence that Haaland's going to get a big haul. So I would be very, very tempted by one of my defenders this week. Again, the defenders are really getting the points in this season, and I've got really nice fixtures for pretty much the majority of my defence. I guess Arsenal is... it could be a little bit of a problem. I wouldn't captain any of those guys, but I definitely think someone like Munoz or even Senesi or Van Dijk could be really, really nice captaincy options for this week. So right now I am staying on Haaland, just because I haven't really looked in properly to who I want to be captaining this week. My thoughts are with Munoz. I think he is... obviously playing against Wolves, the worst team in the league right now. The only problem that's not, or the only issue that I could have facing that is, of course, they have Robert Edwards as their manager. So a new manager bounce. Do I really want to risk that captain? I'm not sure. Playing at home as well, Wolves are. So I think the Munoz captain might be a little bit too risky. I don't really have to take many risks at my rank right now. So maybe it just does stick to a Haaland, or I go for Van Dijk, or maybe even a Saka, who could be quite good this week as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with the team. No transfers are going to be made this week. Hopefully I can just look at rolling for the next couple of weeks and not really have to do anything with my team, which would be ideal. I think it is well set up to do that, and I can just roll all the way up to 5 transfers before we get the AFCON transfers as well. So looking really nice for this week, looking really nice for the upcoming weeks. The only thing I have to decide now is when I want to use my free hit. So this is where the team is at right now with the starting 11 that I did just show, and Ndiaye on the bench. Ndiaye does have a higher predicted points than Enzo Fernandez right now, but obviously that would be because of the flag under his name. Imagine when that gets removed, or if that gets removed, Enzo will have a nice score for this week. But again, I do have Ndiaye on the bench if I need to potentially use that. Now Haaland is the captain. He does have the highest predicted points for this week as well. We move into game week 13. This is the week that I could potentially look to use the free hit. Now, I've got a few away fixtures in here. Obviously, Chelsea are playing against Arsenal at home, so that means Saka, Gabriel and Timber are all playing away from home. I've got Van Dijk playing away from home as well. Both Senesi and Semenyo are playing Sunderland away from home, which isn't the best of fixtures. And then I've got Pope in goals as well, who's also playing away from home. The only players I think I would maybe feel confident in playing here would be Ndiaye, Munoz as well, Mateta, and then obviously Haaland. But I can have these guys on a free hit, so I could potentially, if I want to quickly jump down here, I can then activate my free hit in game week 13 potentially, just as a quick thing for that. But then if I go over to the difficulty rating and look at the fixtures for game week 13, the tougher fixtures come for Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal can have a tougher fixture, obviously Bournemouth as well with Sunderland. Palace don't have the best of fixtures against United either. So if we look at the best fixtures for this week, Villa are playing against Wolves. I've got no Villa players. There's a couple that I definitely would consider for this week, someone like a Morgan Rogers, who's kind of coming into a bit of form, maybe even Digne, who's kind of going under the radar a little bit. Brentford are playing against Burnley. Screams out Igor Thiago for that match as well. And then Liverpool have a good fixture against West Ham as well. Now this looks like the perfect opportunity before Salah goes away, which I think is going to be after this Brighton game. So I think we've got 5 game weeks left of Salah to look at some Liverpool players. Now this week would be, I think, the ideal fixture against Nottingham Forest, but my team looks too good to free hit. Next week again is looking like a nicer fixture, but it's away from home to West Ham. But that's where I would get the likes of Van Dijk in again. I'd get Salah, and I'd be looking at maybe Gakpo or Szoboszlai as my third Liverpool player. Man City also play against Leeds. I'll be very confident in a clean sheet there. Nico O'Reilly could be a really nice one, and in defence, and of course Erling Haaland. I have used my triple captain chip, so I don't have to worry about using the triple captain over the next wee while. And then we've got Spurs playing against Fulham as well. Fulham aren't playing brilliantly. That's a really nice fixture as well. Mickey van de Ven could be a really nice one, and then I could potentially look at maybe a Pedro Porro and double up as well. I don't think any of their attackers are really shouting out at me. Richarlison's minutes are a little bit of a problem, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. And it is kind of looking like the best week to do it before the new chips all come in. So that's kind of where I'm at. Game week 13 could definitely be the time to use it. I do have a 94% game week rating overall that week, which isn't horrendous, but I think when you kind of look deeper into the fixtures, that is probably going to be the best time for me to use the free hit. Game week 14 is still looking strong, so is game week 15, so I'm hoping that I can just look to maximise the use of my current team, and with a good player on the bench every now and then to kind of roll my transfers as much as possible until AFCON starts. So that's going to be it for the video today. If you did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like and make sure to drop a comment down below to let me know if you are making any transfers this week and if you are going to be captain Haaland or not, because I'm still on the fence on whether it's going to be the best idea. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.